I want to ask you about crypto. We've seen them making some gains throughout the morning. Ether around 2,000, Bitcoin around 25,000. I mean, when you think about this a bit more broadly, we've been talking a lot about the potential regulation in this space. It had to take a bit of a backseat, I think, on the news flow, given what we've seen with all of the legislation coming out of Washington. But where are we today in your mind?
Well, look, there's a couple of positives. Obviously, the negatives were a combination of fraud and excess leverage in the system while the Fed was raising rates. And so those people got caught. And it caused, I think, a technical overselling of Bitcoin and Ethereum. The bounce that you're seeing right now is a combination of fundamental buying and some short covering. Since we last spoke, two major things have happened on the institutional side. Number one, Fidelity is allowing for their 401k products to offer Bitcoin. SkyBridge just switched over to that. And number two, last week, BlackRock said, in addition to teaming up with Coinbase on their Aladdin risk management program, BlackRock said that they're going to offer a private trust that will give their clients an opportunity to invest directly in Bitcoin. So to me, I think that these things that are happening right now are going to create a demand shock to Bitcoin. And so there's just not a lot of supply of Bitcoin out there. So, I think we rally into the end of the year for Bitcoin. And I think people just get crazy during market violence, if you will. Everybody is a long-term investor until they have short-term losses, Hadley. And so now people may have a P&L loss on Bitcoin, but I think long-term the fundamentals are quite good. And of course, you're showing Ethereum right now on the screen. Ethereum is about to merge and reduce their gas fees and their transaction fees. And that's one of the reasons why Ethereum is up about 70+% over the last 5.5 weeks.
Do you still see Bitcoin hitting 300,000? And when could that potentially happen? Because as you say, they're further legitimizing this space.
I made the mistake of putting a line in the sand and calling for $100,000 Bitcoin last year. I obviously got that wrong, but I think we're going to be right long term on the fundamentals. And so if you look at where, we bought our first Bitcoins at SkyBridge in October and November of 2020, we were paying $16,000, $17,000. Our cost right now is about $18,200. And so we're in the money, but I do think that the wallets that are growing the way they're growing, just as a point of reference, when we bought our first Bitcoin, there were 80 million Bitcoin wallets. Today, there are over 300 million global Bitcoin wallets. And so as that exponentially grows, I think it will push the price up. You mentioned regulations. I'll speak quickly. In the United States, there are 73 million people that own cryptocurrencies, according to Coinbase. I think it will be impossible for the federal government and the U.S. Congress not to come up with a regulatory procedure for these cryptocurrencies. And so that's coming, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that sorted out. I don't think it comes before the midterms, but I think you'll get a lot more clarity post midterms.